I'm Michelle Lee, and it's time to get real.
On Real Talk with me.
Say my name, say my name. All right, here I
Of
go.
course, Jason and I, all we had to do was get a bunch of young guys.
I
who
just
can't
saw.
keep up.
Speaking of bugs,
I'm up for the best Southern gospel hair in a bluegrass category.
Hey everybody, it's Michelle Lee, and we are about to get real with Carley Arrowood on music and our upcoming wedding to Daniel Thrillkill, all on Real Talk Bluegrass. But before we start, well, you got to head over to MichelleLeeOnAir.com and grab yourself a Bluegrass Borderline or a Smoke Country Jam hat. And just want to let you know, more merchandise is on its way. So get over to MichelleLeeOnAir.com now as we get ready to get real with Carley Arrowood.
There ain't no light on the bright side, and you know it just won't wait. You can't run, and you're running down your face.
Hey everybody, it is once again me, Michelle Lee, with Real Talk Bluegrass, and I'm so happy to welcome 2017 Momentum IBMA Instrumentalist of the Year, Carley Arrowood, to join us today. Good afternoon, Carley. Thanks for being with us.
Hello. Thank you for having me on your show.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Of course, you have had a stellar career, and first off, I gotta say, from our fans here with the Bluegrass Borderline, they have truly fallen in love with your music in the past year. Of course, it started off with your first debut single as a solo artist, Juliana, that climbed up on the Bluegrass Borderline's weekly top 10 and spent 5 weeks at number one. And currently, your latest single, not your newest single, but your current single that's been out for some time, Going Home on 13 weeks at number one. And of course, that I will have to tell you is a record-holding number with the Bluegrass Borderline's weekly top 10.
That's crazy.
6 years, and you have broken the record of Deanie Richardson, who held it at 11 weeks at number one.
Wow.
So look at that. We're taking it from another fiddler, right?
Well, props to all the fiddle players out there. I saw she commented one time a couple of weeks ago, because mine was there and then hers was like the second one, and she was like, I'm so excited to see 2 fiddle players up there. So I was like, yay, go fiddle players. Female fiddle players at that. So.
Exactly. And what an amazing song, both of those have been for you. And of course, you've released a few others in between, but, let's talk a little bit about Juliana first, because this one has an amazing story to it from a friend, family, right?
Yeah. She's actually a friend of the guy who built my fiddle. His name is Bob Kogut, and I went up there one day to let him install my pickup on my instrument, because we used to like plug in all the time, and it was only supposed to take like 30 minutes, and I wound up sitting up there for like just 3 hours talking to him about just anything and everything. And he's such a sweet guy. So, and he told me that all of his fiddles are named after, a little girl that had an impact in his life, or somebody that he met that was really sweet. And so this particular one I bought at Merlefest in 2018, I believe. And he had told me the story behind it. And it was about a little girl that he knew, that was the granddaughter of some friends of his, that had this really sweet relationship with her dad. And I was like, oh, that's so sweet, because I've always been a daddy's girl too. Like, we always, he'd take us fishing and do all this fun stuff. So I related so much. And so I just took that and ran with it and jotted some stuff down and had pretty much an entire song in like 10 minutes, which rarely happens. It's just like one of those things where the Lord's like, okay, you're going to write a song today. I'm like, sounds good to me. So, and then I got stuck at the end of it for about a year. And then Daniel, my fiance, helped me write the last couple lines, and we had a song. And so what we did was I was friends with Juliana's grandparents on Facebook. And so we recorded the first ever, video recording of the song and sent it to them as like a surprise or gift or something. And we were like, here's a song. Thanks for the story. And her grandmother messaged me back and just said that she was just in tears, emotional, and I just had no idea what I had done. And so I was like, oh no, what have I done? So she told me the rest of the story that Bob Kogut did not tell me, because I guess, he wanted them to be able to tell it to me. And basically, when Juliana was a baby, her mom kidnapped her and was missing for almost 6 years. And so they didn't have her for that part of her life. And I felt really bad because I was like, oh no, well, I hope I've not like offended them by, creating this scenario. I hope it's not like opening wounds or anything. And so, but she was just saying how thankful she was for it to have the song and what a blessing it was. And so I remember Bob telling me that Juliana had heard it for the first time and she was like, I'm famous now. So I have yet to really meet her, but she just seems like such a sweet girl, and it was really an honor to get to do that, because a friend of mine actually married someone who's in that family, and so she gets to see her and be around her a lot. And she told me one time, she goes, they kind of have that part of her life now, even though they didn't have her from like 0 to 5 years old. They kind of have that section of her life now because of the song. And I was like, don't say that, you're gonna make me cry. And then she started getting emotional, so I was like, oh my goodness, this is too much. So it was sweet.
Well, and songs like that, definitely kind of leading to your single that has been on the Bluegrass Borderline's weekly top 10 for 21 weeks. Like I said, it's 13 weeks was at #1. Going Home, Coming On. I mean, you're a touring musician. That has got to be another great feel when you wrote a song like that and what it has done, impacting others' lives like Juliana did for Juliana and her family. But this particular song, when you're on the road and you're coming home, you're ready to be home.
That was written by Janae Fleener, who you guys might know. She was the CMA Musician of the Year 2 years in a row. And it was written by her and my producer, Mr. John Weisberger, who's also a fantastic songwriter. And then I believe Charlie Steffel had a hand in that too. He's a great songwriter as well. And John told me that the song had sat for almost 9 years waiting for the right voice to find it. And when I heard it, Janae was doing the work tape of it. And so when she started singing it, I was like, oh my goodness, I already know I love Janae because she's one of my favorite people on this world, on this earth. And I started listening to it and I thought, this is something that I could do. And so when John was sending me all these work tapes, to pick songs for an album, I listened to that one and I told him, I said, I want to do this one because I feel like it's just me. I grew up on a dirt road. I grew up in the mountains, and coming home from being on the road, one of the best feelings, is when you cross from the pavement to the gravel road, it just kind of bumps a little bit. It's like, okay, I'm 3 minutes from home. This is, this is it. So my sister and I were talking about that a couple weeks ago, actually. It was really funny. But yeah, just the whole I guess air the song gives, and being so close to family. I've lived in the same home for 24 years and I'm getting ready to get married now. So that's going to be a big change. But just being that close knit to everybody and having that relationship and being able to come home and, mom's got supper on the table, and when we were little, when daddy would come home from work, he was in construction. So he drives this big truck and he'd come up the driveway, and we were little, we'd just always run down to the front of the yard and go give him a big old hug. So that's why I was like, I've got to put that in the video too at some point. So they were like, you have so many ideas for this video. I said, I lived this song. I'm telling you, this is what we need to do.
As I mentioned, you received the 2017 Momentum Instrumentalist of the Year award from the International Bluegrass Music Association. And When you received that, when you look back at that day and with other artists who are aspiring to receive a Momentum Award or even one of the prestigious awards during the awards evening, what is something and what kind of advice did you have going in being nominated, and what have you been able to share with others since then?
I'm not sure I really was given any advice going into it. I was just a nervous wreck because I was like, man, this would be so cool, because it was on my 21st birthday, and I thought, man, what a cool gift that would be. I mean, I'm like trying to not talk myself up too much, because I was like, it's okay if I don't win it. It's just really cool to be nominated and be recognized for what I love to do, and that's, you can't ask for more than that. So, but when they did call my name, it was really, really awesome. And Molly Tuttle presented the awards, and it's easy to want to take credit for your gift and be like, yeah, I can do that. This is what I do. But really and truly, it's, every good and perfect gift comes from God. And that's what I try to tell everybody. Like, anytime we perform, all of my band members know that that's where our gifts come from. And it's an honor to be able to do that. Excuse me, the phone's ringing, so I hope that doesn't mess anything up.
Hey, we're getting
home life.
This is like the best. Well, Carley, of course, you're no stranger from playing some of the top stages. And one in particular is everybody's dream to play on. And you had the chance to play the Grand Ole Opry with Darren and Brooke Aldridge. What was that moment like for you?
Honestly, that moment went by so fast. I tried to process it as it was happening, but you go out there, and I remember walking out, from the backstage area to get on stage, and it was like all the lights were down. It had this like purple hue to it, and I felt like I was in the middle of some kind of paparazzi walk or something. I don't know. It seems like there were a few cameras flashing, and I was like, okay. And I'm just trying to soak everything in. So we get on stage, we play our 3 songs, I think, and then it was over in like 12 minutes. And I was like, did we just do that? Like, we just played on the Opry, for the first time. And I just remember, I'll never forget, like, walking back there. Brooke was always so sweet. She like reached over and gave me this big old hug. She just goes, I love you. And I was like, I love you too. I'm so glad we're doing this. So it was awesome. It was a really coul experience.
Now you're teaching and giving lessons and that to students. And Rick from California wanted to ask, the fact that you give fiddle lessons. One, who is the youngest? What is the youngest and the oldest you've ever taught? And how does it feel to teach a younger or older person to play? And do you have a pet peeve when it comes to your students?
I love you, Rick. So the youngest student I've ever taught was about 4 years old. And she has been taking lessons with me for about 2 years now. So she's pretty much stuck with it. And she's so sweet. She loves it. She's finally opening up. She wouldn't talk to me at first. She would just kind of like nod, stare at me. But she's kind of matured a little bit. So she talks a little bit more. And she's got a good ear. So she can kind of hum and, whatever song, okay, let's practice, Cripple Creek or I'll Fly Away or whatever. She starts humming it. And I'm like, yep, you can hum it. So let's try to see if we can play it. And then the oldest one I think I've ever taught was a lady who was in her 60s. And she wanted to just learn for fun. And I think she kind of stopped whenever the whole COVID thing started, and just wasn't comfortable coming back. But I've actually taught a couple of people who have been in their 60s and 70s, so it's fun.
Now it's a little bit more real because you have a lot of things going on in not only in your career but your personal life. Yes. And some folks have been following you through your career, and they're feeling like they're going to be part of this event that's coming up. What, I think it's 48 days now.
I believe it is. It's actually, no, it's 47 today.
Okay. Hey, I'm keeping you on else and making sure you know what that day is.
Yeah, we've been reading the Psalms backwards as part of our premarital counseling, and that's what his dad wanted us to do. So that's the only reason I know what day it is, because we'll read Psalm 47 tonight. So, and
Well,
it's my turn to read. So.
and for those who don't know, you are engaged to a fellow musician from the Trailblazers, Daniel Thrillkill, and you guys have been together for several years now. What is do you remember your first date?
I do. I very much remember our first date. So, we had met at, oh, I love that picture. We met at a bluegrass festival in Harmony, North Carolina. It was the Union Grove Fiddlers Convention, and he says I don't remember it that well, but I do. And I remember him talking to me, but I think I was dating somebody else at the time. So I was like, any guy who tries to talk to me, I'm not really going to give him the time of day. But then he said after that, he started praying for a way that he could have me for his own. So, and then our first date was, I think he came up to Forest City, which is where I normally teach. It's like 30 minutes from where I live, but it's almost 2 hours for him. So he did the driving. And he came and got me at my grandma's house. We went to, I think we went out to eat. We went to my favorite Mexican place. Then we went bowling. We played like 4 games of bowling. And then we went on a walk in a downtown area and just had long conversations. And my grandma got to meet him on the first date, and she loved him. So I was like, all right, this is pretty good. So,
important question after the date: who beat who in the bowling games?
I think we were pretty even. I think I won 2 and he won 2. So
that's a good, Carly. Way to start off the relationship. Let him have a few wins in there. I mean,
yeah,
he did win your heart. That's for sure.
that's right. And ever since then, I've beat him in bowling, and he's not afraid to admit that. So.
Well, we have a few wedding questions, of course, for you, and besides your first date, but a listener, a fan of yours, would like to know: are you going to share the colors of your wedding before the wedding, or are you going to wait until?
I have not given that much thought. I mean, I don't have any problem sharing. I mean, see these roses behind? I'm not pointing in the right here. Those he gave those to me the other day, but it's gonna be it's a little more peachy than that. Those are actually kind of pink, but so it's a very blushy pink peach color and a steel blue.
Ooh.
And little gold accents.
And what have you guys planned your wedding song? What it's gonna be?
So do you mean our first dance?
Sure.
Okay. Because there's lots of music at our wedding. I'm not even.
I hope so.
So much music. So we are gonna dance to a song called "Love Never Fails." It's by a Christian artist named Brandon Heath, and he basically just takes 1 Corinthians 13 and sings it. And we're actually gonna have 2 really good friends of ours sing it for us. And the funny part is, these friends of ours, the bride, his wife walked in to this song, and so now we're having them sing it for our first dance. So it's really sweet. It's going to turn out really good.
Where do you see yourself and Daniel in 5 years, both personally and in your career?
Well, at this point, we've been trying to take things a day at a time. So I think hopefully in 5 years we'll still be touring. We'll have our house finished because we are doing some renovating right now, and it's kind of been a slower process because he's trying to finish up school, and he's still teaching full time, and I'm teaching full time, and it's an hour and 10 minutes from here. So it's just whenever we can get up there to do the work. But once we move in, like after we're married, we're still going to be working on it. So hopefully it'll be done in 5 years. And then musically, I hope we're still doing what we're doing, like his band and my band, and hopefully there will be some more duo shows, because we have one coming up in July, and it'll be the first time we've ever done anything together, like our 2 bands doing a show together. So I think that would be really fun, just to do.
And I think this is a great way to because you kind of like merged your performances together, like with the duo show, but he's been helping you on some of your solo performances as well. Um,
Yeah.
has there anything that happened on the road or on stage between the two of you that is just like hysterical that you could share with us?
Um, I can't think of anything right off, and it's probably just because we haven't done it enough, but I know that moving forward there will be things that are super hilarious. Actually, okay, I just thought of something. So, and this is more me being silly than him, but we when I was with Darren and Brooke, we played a show. We played the Mac in Ohio, and
Mhm.
um he and I had gone to a Lionel Richie concert like the night before, and um because I got him tickets for his birthday. And so he had planned to go with me and just get a separate hotel room and stay, the whole time. And so we went from Charlotte or Greensboro, I think it was Greensboro. Greensboro, we spent the night with some friends in Bluefield, West Virginia, and got up, slept for like 2 hours, and got up at 5:30 the next morning to drive 7 more hours to 5 or 7 more hours to Ohio, played the Mac, and then we had to be at the Opry that next couple of days or so. And so we were like North Carolina, West Virginia, Ohio, Tennessee, back to North Carolina. And between all the riding, I was getting bored. And he was like, "Well, why don't you get your fiddle out and just play?" And so I was listening to some Jim Van Cleve on the radio, and um, I listened to, he's one of my fiddle heroes, and I listened to, I think it was Nature of the Beast, and it was the mandolin break because I had already learned the fiddle stuff like years ago because I was obsessed with it. And he was like, "Why don't you try to learn the mandolin break to that?" And so here I am, we're riding down the road 70, 75 miles an hour on our way to Tennessee, and I've got my fiddle out and backing it up, on my phone, playing the song, and I'm trying to learn it little pieces by pieces and try not to poke him in the face with my bow at that point. And so I think there's a video of it on my Facebook page if anybody is interested. But that's a funny thing that comes to mind. And his facial expressions in the video are going to be why you want to watch the video because it's
Yeah.
pretty funny. So I finished the song, I learned it all, and he's like driving and he's making all these like faces, looking over at me driving. And then I finished the song and he just goes, like, "You did it!" And I had been doing it for like 3 hours at that point. So that was kind of funny.
And of music and other genre of music in that because you mentioned Lionel Richie and
Mhm.
singers, what kind of music outside of bluegrass and country and Christian music do you listen to? And
Um, that's what?
that's your favorite.
That's my favorite. If I listen to anything outside of those genres, it's gonna be kind of jazzy stuff because that's what Daniel likes to listen to. So if I'm in the car with him, we're mostly listening to like George Benson and Michael McDonald because he loves those guys. And there's like two or three other guys, and he's gonna kill me because I can't remember their names, but he loves that kind of music, and it's just, I mean, I enjoy it too because I appreciate the musicality behind all of it. So, but I don't usually branch farther than, my bluegrass and my Christian contemporary because that's what I grew up with. So
What is your favorite gospel song to perform?
to perform, um, I actually had our song "Lift Your Voice, Bow Your Head" in my head this morning because I mean, I really love that song. Steve Gully and John Weisberger did a good job with that one. My band loves to perform my song "Jesus Drive the Train" because that's always a really fun song. It was funny. We were at the ISIS back in February in Asheville, and we had finished our set, and Jesus Drive the Train was going to be the encore, and nobody really really wanted us to come back out. And so Daniel goes back out on stage and he's like, "You guys want to hear one more?" And they were like, "Yeah, sure." And so we came back out. My banjo player was like, "Dang it, I thought we were going to get to play that song. That's such a good ending song." So anyway, he was like, "You guys want to hear one more?" And so we went out and played Jesus Drive the Train anyway. So Whether they wanted to hear it or not, they got it. So yeah,
Well,
that's a fun one to
you
play.
know,
So.
mutual friend of ours, David, would have been saying, yes, get her back out.
Yes, please play that. Yes, that's for David. We
Yeah.
do that song for David. So.
And you mentioned lift your voice, bow your heads, and that is part of a project with the Bluegrass at the Crossroads. It's not the first track off the album. There's several other tracks, and just recently another one had been released with you being part of it as well. Are you actually part of every single track of Bluegrass at the Crossroads?
Not every one of them. So what they do is they have these different configurations of bands that kind of get together and do different songs. So, excuse me. Whenever we were in the studio, we did I think we did 4 songs with our session, and then other ones would come in. And so my group was Sammy Sheeler, Wayne Benson, who's been a good friend of mine for a long time. Let's see, Travis Book, whom I had never met before, and he's the one that wrote On the Lonesome Breeze and is bass player for the String Dusters. But after that, I felt like I'd known him for a long time. But anyway, it was him and then Joe Cicero from Fireside Collective, whom I had also never met before. And so I had never recorded with any of them except Wayne before. So it was really fun to get to do that. And they're kind of releasing different songs from different sessions at a time, kind of mixing it up some. So.
Yeah, lift your voice, bow your head. It's a hard song to get out of your head.
The chorus is really good. Oh, and a lady named Miss Wendy Hickman sang harmony on that. I forgot that she came in for that one song, and so she was the third voice in that song.
It's kind of like trying to get your new single, "My Kind of Nightlife," out of the head too. You know, it kind of goes.
Yeah.
You know, it's following the train of Going Home, Coming On, and
I hope so.
But another a little more deeper question for you, and what are you most curious about seeing your career as you look ahead beyond the wedding, and that a little bit more what you'd like to see as yourself to do as a solo artist?
I would definitely like to do some more songwriting. I feel like, with all of the wedding stuff and still trying to teach, that's kind of taken the back burner for a while, and I really would like to get back into that. I'm finishing one up right now. It's a murder ballad with Miss Becky Bowler, so I'm excited to get that one done and out there because it's gonna be a spine chiller. So
From being on stage to not performing and then kind of rebranding yourself a little bit more as a solo artist during the pandemic and making sure nobody forgets who Carley Arrowood is, and learning all the technology areas from all the social medias and that.
yeah, that was honestly, whenever all that went down is when so right before Juliana came out, a couple weeks before that is kind of when I went out on my own, and then the world shut down. And I was like, well, there goes my opportunity to kind of put myself out there a little bit more. And, everything was closed for a year. And so it was kind of like the Lord did that. I mean, I know the pandemic has affected everybody in a different way. This is just my personal testimony, but just having that opportunity to take a step back and kind of get my ducks in a row, so to speak, with Mountain Home, kind of making a plan. This is what we're going to do. These are the songs we're going to record. As soon as we're able to go back in the studio. Because, and the one thing that kind of broke my heart was we were going to do a music video for Dear Juliana, and my pastor and his 2 little girls were going to be in it because they all have red hair and they're just beautiful, beautiful people, and I love them dearly. And I had been texting back and forth with him. He was like, yeah, just let me know a date and we'll be there. I've never done this before, but we'll do whatever. If it's gonna make me famous, he's a jokester. So, but we didn't get to do that because everything kind of went by the wayside. But like I said, it gave me time to think about what I wanted to do and kind of figure out social media a little bit more. I was kind of forced to do that, and I have never been a truly tech savvy person, so it's been a learning curve. Still is a learning curve, but I'm learning, and it's been fun. It's been a fun time, and we've been able to have some band practices and kind of figure out what we want our sound to be. So it all just kind of worked out the way it was supposed to.
Has it been hard for kind of imagine yourself now being a leader that people are looking towards, to for advice and well, as a band leader, especially?
Yeah. Well, we were talking about Most Wanted earlier, and I feel like with that band, even though I was, 14 to 17 years old, I felt like um, more of the leader in that. And so I've had a taste of it before, and now stepping out and doing it myself, I feel sometimes I feel pretty confident, and other times, not so much. But it's just the learning process and trying to make sure that I'm doing it how I'm supposed to. And the great thing is you don't have to copy anybody. You can just do things how you feel comfortable doing it. And I'm learning that, I don't have to go off of anybody else. It's my band, so I can, but I try to be, considerate of everybody. And if they have questions, I try to, I'm doing all the booking right now, so I'm trying to keep track of that and updating the website and doing all the leader stuff. So it's a new role, but it's been fun.
Many have been curious. I mean, we've been hearing all this amazing, great music off this up and coming album with Mountain Home. When is it going to be released, Carley?
Your guess is as good as mine. No. There's just been a lot going on, I guess, with Mountain Home because they're trying to keep singles out for everybody. And so with my busy schedule too, I think I've got 4 songs to record before the album is done.
Okay.
So it's just trying to, find time to go do that and to learn the songs and, finish writing them because I'm trying to finish writing a couple of them before we go record them. So hopefully it'll be the fall. I'm hoping it will be the fall. That's kind of been mentioned to me. Fall of 2021, yes. Tentatively.
Well, it's completely understandable, of course, and that. A couple more questions from fans, and one of them is, have you ever messed up a song on stage? And what did you do when you had?
Yes, I've messed up way more times than I care to admit. It's like I said earlier, you're not there to be there for you. You're there to be entertainment for people. And 95% of the time, nobody's going to know that you messed up, and you cannot, like, I'm my own worst critic. I'm sure every artist is their own worst critic, and you can't dwell on it because then it puts a damper on the whole show and on the whole rest of the day. If you dwell on that one little, well, my voice cracked here, or I was having a hard time singing this, or my fiddle break was terrible,
Has
you
your
can't.
has a string on your fiddle or your bow kind of like frizzle apart while you were performing?
So, yes to both of those, but my bow actually, thankfully, didn't do that on stage. I opened my fiddle case and I had 2 bows with me. Thank the Lord, I had 2 bows with me. But one of them I opened up and the hair was just everywhere. And I was like, I don't know what just happened, but my bow has exploded in my case. And I'm glad I have a second one. Sorry, I keep checking my laptop. And then another time when I was with Most Wanted, we were playing a show down in Walhalla, South Carolina, and I went to chop, like I was chopping behind somebody, and the bottom part of my frog on my bow, where it's metal, I would clip it on the string sometimes, just getting into it. And I wouldn't mean to do that, but one time it actually chopped the string in half, and so I had just cleaned out my fiddle case and I didn't have an extra string. So that was kind of, and we had 3 songs left in the set, and so I was up there just kind of like, yeah, you guys are doing a good job. So that's the only time that's ever happened. Thank goodness.
As an artist that you'd love to meet that you haven't and have a chance to have a sit down with?
I think I have been really, really blessed to meet most of the people that I look up to in music, and I don't take that lightly. I got to play fiddle some with Aubrey Haney when I was 16, just in a jam session at IBMA. But I think I would love to be able to sit down with him and just talk about
Mhm.
music and life in general, because I've never gotten to do that. Um, I think that's what I would do. Sit down with Aubrey Haney, just talk about fiddle playing and everything in between.
Now, who is the most influential person in your life?
I
You
would
haven't,
definitely say, sorry,
if it
try
happens to
again.
be, okay, I'll take.
um, yes, definitely. So my parents for sure, because they, like I said earlier, they sacrificed a lot of time and just effort into our musical interests, and um, they've just been a great example of, that unconditional love and support, and kind of just doing things to support their kids. And a couple other people that come to mind are Wayne and Kristen Benson. I started taking banjo from Kristen when I was about 13, and I think, for about 4 years. But a lot of times we would and Autumn, my sister, was taking mandolin from Wayne, and so we would just switch off. We'd go to their house every couple of weeks and switch off. Um, but a lot of times, if they weren't busy, we would just stay for another hour and talk. And she became like this big sister, person in my life that I never had, because I'm the oldest of three. And um, so definitely her, getting to spend some time with her, and even outside of music. One time, she came to our house, and she loves dogs. I don't know if you see her posts all the time on Facebook of all the little dogs that she fosters, but um, she loves to just come and visit. Need to get them back up here, it'd be really fun. But she loves just sit around, talking to my mom, and just being that kind of person that's wants to talk about something outside of her music career, because it's just like, she's a normal person too, her and Wayne both, because they just love to interact and mingle, and to be your friend. And what kind of influences me the most about them is they want to know about you. They've got these amazing music careers and a lot of things they could talk about, but they don't ever do that. I remember at I think it was IBMA 2019. I was sitting with Daniel at the award show, and she was right across the aisle from me, like a couple of rows up, and she won Banjo Player of the Year. And I was, ecstatic for her. And she came back from, backstage and went back to her seat. And that was the year that we got to play. I was with Darren Brooke on the award show. We got to play a song on the award show for the first time. And I was back at my seat, and she came back around to hers. And I was like, I'm so happy. I was trying to get these words out. And before I could finish my sentence, she goes, you did such a good job. I got to see that. I was so proud of you. And she's holding her thing in her hand, and like she just won freaking Banjo Player of the Year, and she's talking about me. And that's the kind of person I want to be. It's like just not even consumed with myself at all. She just is so invested in everybody
Well,
else.
and one of the things is this past IBMA 2020, obviously we went virtual with World of Bluegrass Week, and you were a showcase artist, and you had the opportunity to bring both Kristen and Wayne to be part of your performance
Yeah.
during World of Bluegrass Week, where you knocked it out of the ballpark. Amazing, great song selection and the music, and of course that Daniel was part of the event as well.
He
um,
was. I'm telling you what. That was, yeah, that was a good time. So it was really funny because I had originally been selected as an alternate, and usually an alternate doesn't get to perform unless somebody drops out. Well, like 8 days before the video is supposed to be turned in, I got the email that said, because of the pandemic, we've had to, people have dropped out and we need to fill these spots. And I'm like, okay. Daniel was here because he's looking at me and he's kind of doing the same thing. What are we going to do? We have to get a video in. We don't have a band. We don't have songs. What are we supposed to do? So I texted Kristen and I was like, hey, this happened. Would you guys be willing to do this? And it worked out that we actually got to do the IBMA recording the same day that we shot my music video for Going Home Coming On. And just used the same house and everything. My dad and my brother built that house, and it was just really a blessing that we got to do that. And You see my sister there. She was singing and helping us harmonize, and her boyfriend Paul on the bass. And so it just really, really, I mean, it couldn't have been any more smooth. We we practiced the songs for like 30 minutes before we videoed, and just so everybody could have the arrangements, because the cool thing was Wayne and Kristen had been in the studio when we recorded a lot of those songs, and so they kind of were familiar with the arrangements already. But just the way that it all came together, because we were kind of crunched on time, and we did it in one take, and that was it. And that just shows how good everybody is, you know, to be able to do it in one take and treat it like a live performance.
But I know you have some private events coming up, but of course, most important event of your life in 47 days, your wedding to Danielle Thrillkill, of course, of the Trailblazers, and that again, congratulations, many blessings to the two of you on your big day coming up. Looking forward to seeing all the official photographs from the day.
Official pictures, yes.
Pictures, but remember to stop by your social media pages, your Facebook, your Instagram. Visit CarleyArrowoodMusic.com as well. You have t-shirts available and some other merchandise I know on there. And of course, download these amazing, great singles from her newest single, My Kind of Nightlife, to Going Home, Coming On, the longest running #1 song to date on the Bluegrass Borderlines Weekly Top 10.
That's so crazy.
I still love the fact when Juliana went to #1, they made you the cake with the
oh yes, that was so funny. It was really funny because my mom's birthday was like 2 days before that, and my parents came in, and Daniel was there, and he wasn't in on it, but they come in with this cake, and I'm like, oh, we're going to celebrate Mom's birthday, and they put it in front of me, and it's your chart, and I'm like, what are you guys doing? So it was really funny just to.
But awesome to see how much you've grown in such a short time. And even though you've been at it since you were a young child, at the age of 8, earlier than that possibly, but you've been making a great mark as an individual of your career, from playing in the bands that you have played, and now venturing off on your own. And again, Mountain Home recording artist Carley Arrowood, it's been a pleasure getting a little real with you. And
yeah, it's been fun. I enjoy these conversations. It's always a good time.
It's always a great blast to always have you part of one or all my shows, and I'm glad we got to get real. On
Me
real.
too. Thank you for including me.
And again, I want to remind you to visit CarleyArrowoodMusic.com. Go to her tour schedule, her merchandise page, download all the amazing, great music that's available for sale. And also remind you to subscribe to Bluegrass Music TV. TV Prime includes, not limited to, Ronnie Reno's Old Time Music, the Bluegrass Hideaway, Wood Songs, and Heart to Heart for $4.99 a month. And for more information, check out Bluegrass Music TV Prime. Go to Bluegrass Music TV Prime, and also visit Bluegrass Music TV online on YouTube and Facebook. It's always great great fun getting real, as we just got real with Carley Arrowood, as we look forward to new music with Carley Arrowood with Bluegrass at the Crossroads, including her newest single, My Kind of Nightlife, with Mountain Home Music Company. Again, Carley Arrowood, thank you so much. Again, join us again next time with Real Talk Bluegrass here with me, Michelle Lee. And I want to say thank you again to Sammy Passamano, keeping us going on this.
Thank you, Sammy.
Thank you so much, everybody. Have yourself a great day. And again, until next time, I thank you.
Howdy, folks. I'm Ronnie Reno, and this is my dear friend, Sammy Passamano. Hey, Sammy, how do we find Bluegrass Music TV Prime?
Well, let's start by going to Google. Let's go ahead and open up a Google in your browser, and all you can do is type in Bluegrass Music TV. You'll hit enter, and it will be the very first one on the top. And you go ahead and click Bluegrass Music TV.
Cool.
What you're going to want to do from here, this is our website. You have 2 ways of finding it. You can click this down here, or you can go to the top in the menu and click the menu. If you're on a cell phone or if you're on a device, you can hit the 3 tabs, and it's going to open up our menu, and you'll click Bluegrass Music TV Prime.
Cool. Cool. And then you just start watching. By the way, this is the new home of Reno's Old Time Music. How do we find Reno's Old Time Music Festival?
It's a good question. So you have two ways. You can scroll down and you can click on this image up here, right here, or you can go to the top and hit the browse button. It's probably the easiest just to go ahead and click the picture.
Right. Yeah, and we're doing this by seasons. I think right now we have 2 seasons up, right?
We have 2 seasons, and what you'll do is when you come on here, you'll see how many seasons the show has. So right now, your show has 2 seasons up, and how you find the seasons is you'll click this tab right here,
right,
and then you'll go ahead and click on season 2, and then there's season 2. It pulls it right up.
Sure. Hey, we got a bunch of shows on there, Sammy. How do we get to all the shows?
Well, what I would recommend doing is go up here and hit the browse. So when you hit browse, this is going to take you to all the shows that we have up on Prime right now.
615 Hideaway. That's your shows.
This is my show. So we have my show, The Hideaway, the Bluegrass Hideaway, and you can scroll over and see the different shows. We have Wood Songs. We have Real Talk with Michelle Lee, where she gets real with all of today's latest and greatest people in the bluegrass industry, not just artists. We have she has songwriters as well. We have artist spotlights here, which will be adding individual music videos from time to time, videos on artists, about artists. And then we have your show down here, Ron Arena Live.
Sure, sure. And each week we're going to be uploading a brand new show for everybody to sort of refresh everything. And we're going to be adding a lot more stuff. But, you know, this will be a subscription base, Sammy, as you well know. How do people get to subscribe for this?
Well, there's a few different options. On the home page, what you want to do is you want to go ahead and hit start watching now. You'll see that it's $4.95 a month, and you have 3 days of a free trial, so you can kind of test it out. Say you have a relative that you think would love this, and they might not know how to sign up. Well, you can also gift this too, if you feel like making a gift for a loved one.
Sure, that's wonderful. Well, we hope people are going to enjoy this new platform that we're providing for everybody. And if you love our kind of music and want to support it, well, then sort of help us do this. We want to thank you for the tour today, Sammy. Thanks for telling everybody what we're doing, and also thank you for supporting our new platform.
Thank you.